So there's a word order. Hang on. We're going to MS Paint for this, all right? So hang tight, folks. Hang tight. Here we go. Here's Paint. I was doing some things. This doesn't need to be here. This can go. This can go. Delete. There we go. All right. So there is a word order, right? And it looks like this. It's got the colon in it. It's got this thing here. It's got this other thing here. Okay, so this word is a compound word, right? It's putting all these concepts together. But you see that it doesn't have that ending piece that goes at the end of all the single concept words, right? So this piece, speech, if it was on its own, not part of a compound word, it would look very similar, but it would have that ending piece on it, right? It would have this. Yeah, order, declare, it's the same word. So it would look like this instead of without that ending piece, if it was a word on its own. So here, we can see that it's set up in this way. There's other words that also include the concept of speech, but don't include this identifying piece, right? Or just words in general that don't include that identifying piece, but still include the concept, right? So like, we were talking about, and the point I'm leading this into is I feel like these identifying pieces and this ending piece here don't have verbal components. They're not spoken. So if we're looking at person, right, we know what person is. The glyph for person, this, is spoken as ke. So in miameke, robot, right, it's metal animal person. Miameke. But we also know that the gate refers to us as ke, person. So if that were to be written down, it would be written down like this, right? You would have, that's actually wrong. It wouldn't be a verb, it would be a noun, but still. Right? This would be ke, spoken, with this part and this part not there at all. So there's a lot of pieces of the written language that don't show up in the spoken language. There are things that are in the written language as differentiators that don't show up in the spoken language, and presumably in the spoken language it's just determined by context. Which is the opposite of most languages. Most languages are disambiguated in the spoken version, but maybe require you to understand a little bit of context in the written version. Like Hebrew, for example. In Hebrew, there's a lot of vowels that are optional. You just don't write them if you don't want to. And then the actual pronunciation of the word is kind of, you kind of figure it out by context. Because of where it is, it's pronounced in this way or this other way because of what it means. English includes a lot of homophones, words that, not homophones, the other thing. The one where they look the same but are pronounced differently. And, in general, you have, most languages are disambiguated when spoken, but then some of that disambiguation, homonyms, there you go, thank you, it's the second time I've done that. The disambiguation is elided, is smoothed over, is shortcut in some way when you're moving to a written version of that language. And I think that's because the spoken language came first. And then you find ways to put that spoken language onto paper in order to transmit thoughts in another way. But with the way that ancient works, it kind of makes me think that the written language came first. Because the written language is the most disambiguated, and then stuff got shortcutted as it moved into a spoken version. which I think is fascinating. Like, that implies a lot about the language. I think that implies that maybe it was, like, robotic originally? Or transmitted in some way other than vocally first? Which is not the way that people work. So, that's fascinating. Fascinating. Anyway, that was the big rant that I had.